On August 23, 1986, my cousin Mai Kak Huyen Chung was born in Saigon, Vietnam. She is hungry, spirited, loud, and did we mention hungry? She came into this world with a big appetite, but a big heart as well. A natural-born artist, though she'll deny it. Her beetle was even featured at a museum where, coincidentally, she said I do this very morning. Funny how life works. Oh yeah, we also forgot. She also enjoys torturing her little brother, something she would convince us to do when we would later meet in San Jose, California.
No tickling!
No, Jimmy, helpful!
I remember picking her up from the airport and feeling this overwhelming love for her. So being an innocent 4-year-old, I made a beeline for her and gave her the biggest hug ever. I will never forget that look on her face. Who is this kid, and why is she touching me? From that moment on, I knew we were inseparable. Then somehow, she made us all her slaves, and for some reason, we all agreed. I guess we all knew deep, deep, deep down, Tran had a big heart. I mean, she did teach us a lot, like cards. You know, she held a poker ring for 3 days at her house and fed us hamburgers. And by the third day, I was so dazed and exhausted, and she ended up robbing me of all my Monopoly money.
Hello?
I remember that we lived together for a while, and apparently we went on road trips all the time. I even took her to Disneyland for the first time, and that's where we celebrated her bachelorette. Funny how life works again. Eventually, she kicked me out of Tiffany's house, but that didn't stop me from coming back for her. We became one big family and hung out almost every weekend. Well, because of Vietnamese school. But one thing I knew was for sure, she was our missing link. All these crazy fun activities started because of her, like camping in the living room, crawfishing at a local creek, cross-dressing the boys. She says it's because she's bored all the time, but we know the truth. It's because she loves us as much as we love her.
Growing up, we'd watch a lot of rom-coms together. I think our first movie together was 27 Dresses, which is funny because it's a wedding movie. But oh my god, she used to be obsessed with watching wedding proposals on YouTube.
She's like the older sister we never had. We even agreed to serve as her minions for her birthday party, the night that Steve laid eyes on Tran and the start of their magical love story.
One night, she invited us out for dinner so that we can all say goodbye because I was leaving to UCI for my first year.
Because that was the first time we met Steve, the random guy that crashed her birthday party. That night, they took us to pick up her mom,
which was also the first time her mom unexpectedly met Steve, FYI.
And then we went to Korean barbecue. After some small talk, we found out that Steve was an overall pretty cool dude. But more importantly, UCI was his alma mater. What another coincidence.
About a month later, I got a text from Tran telling me that she was going down to SoCal for a business trip and asking me if I wanted to have dinner with her and Steve. But to my surprise, all of Steve's SoCal friends were there. I think this is the first time Tran ever met them too. And the next day I tied along to Steve's family barbecue, which was also the first time Tran met his family. I'm kind of like a third wheel to their first.
And things went really well for them. Date after date, first place murder mystery partners, Valentine's Day at Napa. She seemed happier than ever. He was good for her, we could tell.
As soon as we got back, Tran kidnapped us from our homes and were sent to help plan Steve's surprise birthday party. His farm-themed birthday party, inspired by Tran's new baby chicks. We made a cake and deviled eggs and everything.
I even have the bacon grease burn to prove it.
It was at this party that Steve delivered an impromptu declaration of love for Tran. And if I recall correctly, things got pretty emotional. No, this was the first time we realized that someone could actually love her as much as we did. And it's something that we thought could never be attained.
And before we knew it, we were back at school. But we felt something coming and we FaceTimed every day in anticipation. Unfortunately, Dylan was an unreliable source, so we kept getting our hopes up and then getting disappointed. On top of that, there were complications about the lucky day, and things just kept dragging on. It seemed as though everyone but Tran knew Steve was going to pop the question. And then there's this whole thing with Zodiac, but we're not even going to get into that. Then one day, we had one big video call and it happened. They were engaged.
Shortly after, Tran asked us to be maid of honors, to which we screamed, yes, of course, multiple times. Nothing was gonna get in our way of being there for her on one of the most important days of her life. We were ready for Bridezilla, and now here we are, sharing her story with you. You know, life works in mysterious ways, and we're just so glad life brought Steve and Tran together.